It's your boy Busy, back at it again. I have been away for quite some time. I've been pretty freaking sick, under the weather with some sort of killer flu, possibly the virus of unknown origin. I'm not actually 100% sure what I had. So I was on the verge of death with a fever of 102.5. But so I'm back, and today it's not a very good video. So before I got sick, I ended up, buying a bunch of cards from Buy, a very nice website, a Japanese website, sort of like eBay. And on there, you can find some really good deals on Pokemon. But you do have to be careful because it turns out you can be scammed pretty easily. So today, we're going to be looking at a handful of cards that I did get on Buy, and we're going to discuss why these are all absolutely fake. We're going to be looking over these counterfeits today, and I'm going to be just describing what makes them fake, the telltale signs that they are indeed fake cards. Obviously, I did not know this before buying the cards, or I would not have purchased this very, very expensive handful of fake cards. So that being said, without further ado, let's go ahead, look over the cards individually under the microscope. We got a couple of tests back here that I'm going to run on the cards. So let's just see what's going on with these things. Why didn't I realize they were fake from the very beginning? And I'm just going to be talking about the future of collecting, what I think in the future, how to keep yourself safe from purchasing counterfeits, what exactly I did to keep myself safe when I make purchases on Buy. So just stick around, guys. This is going to be a really big video for you, especially if you're new to the game of Pokemon, new to the hobby of Pokemon. Doesn't even necessarily have to be Pokemon. This can be Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, any sort of cards that are worth value can be counterfeited. And so we're just going to look over these cards, see what we can, maybe teach, the information that I can divulge upon you to just make smarter customers out of all of us, smarter buyers in the future if you're going to be buying cards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look over these counterfeit cards. Let's go. To really tell if these are fake, we did go ahead and pull this out of the sleeve so we can get just a better look at the card overall. Not a lot of things tell me that this is a fake, but something that you can pretty easily maybe distinguish here. Let me go ahead and get another e-reader. This is a real e-reader. And what you'll notice, the real versus the fake e-reader, if you look at the actual E, the E on the real one is just a little better looking. Not only that, but the actual barcode in between the large dots, if you look at the small dots, you'll notice that the true e-reader on the right has a bunch of really, really small dots making up a dot matrix, whereas the fake card on the left is basically just blurry. You look at that. Check out the bottom of that. Look at that dot matrix. Very, very fuzzy looking dot matrix. The E doesn't look terrible. I've seen worse, but that is fairly pixelated. That star looking pretty blurry. So with our legitimate copy, you can just absolutely see the difference. Look at that dot matrix. Look at that E. I'm trying to hold this very still, but it's pretty difficult. I mean, just look at that. You can see every little dot. This is legitimate. This is a real e-reader. All right, boom, boom, boom. We've pulled out the old reliable Game Boy Advance with the e-reader installed. We're going to turn this on, and I'm going to show you for a fact. That these e-readers are not legitimate. You guys may never have even seen an e-reader in action. But so here's what we do. Scan.code. Scan.code. Nothing. Nothing on the Mew. All right, listen closely. Now, did you hear that? Can you see that? Drowsy. That's Drowsy. Shows the card. Shows the evolution line. Okay. And we can even scan it the other way. Drowsy, go. Check that out. Need more dot codes, but that is a legitimate dot code, guys. That is a legitimate dot code. That is a legitimate version of Drowsy, right? So obviously, right off the bat, these two cards are fraudulent. Let's go ahead and look over these. We got the Light Vaporeon, Light Flareon, first edition, and the Light Jolteon. Now, I do not have legitimate copies of the others, but I do have a legitimate copy of this Light Jolteon. So this is the fake Jolteon, and I'm going to leave the real one in its sleeve, but just look at that. If you look at these side by side, the real one is on the left, and you can just see so much more clarity in the colors, so much more brightness, the vividness of the actual art. Look at how vivid that Light Jolteon is, holding on to Togepi. And then just look at this. If you were just looking at this card by itself, it's pretty difficult to tell. But when you have them side by side, the fake one is just all washed out. They did a really, really good job on all of the font. Everything looks super close to the legitimate. Even on the back, it's almost impossible to tell. Almost impossible to tell from the real to the fake. Someone spent a lot of time, a lot of energy. Let me see if I can even see the legitimate trademark. Yeah, look at those print matrix. It's hard for me to keep my hands still, but there's a very, very distinct, like little flower patterns around the trademark. And then if we compare that directly to the fake, you'll notice that that print pattern is completely different. It is a print pattern, but it is not the same one, and that TM is way, way blurrier. All right, so that's how we verify the legitimacy of these cards. You can definitely tell the legitimate to the fake here. Look at on the left, that is the fake copy. Look at the yellowing of the edges. The actual yellow border is nowhere near the same. Not to mention the card is blurry. Like the actual artwork is blurry, as if they just scanned the card directly. All right. Next, we'll look at the stars. We got the Espeon star. Of course, we've got Jolteon star, Flareon star, Vaporeon, and lastly, Umbreon. Now, anyone who knows these cards just off the top of their head is going to know that these are completely fake. There's so much wrong here. Starting off, look at the energies. There should not be a white circle around that energy. There should not be a border around that energy. Not to mention just that, but also Dark Ray here, the Poke Power, is the wrong font. That is just not right. Other than that, there's white borders around all of these energies, and that is just completely wrong. Lastly, another thing you can tell here is this Pop Series 5 Pokeball is not the right symbol. That is just completely wrong. All right, now you want to see the real telltale sign on this Umbreon? Oh, that is the back. For anyone wondering, this on the left is a legitimate Pokemon back. What you see on the right is a falsehood. It's very close, but the blues are not right. So it's too light. The red of the Pokeball is just not right. Really everything about this screams wrong. But unfortunately, I was only able to see these in a picture, and there was no real cards, obviously, with them to verify the backs. So if we look at Flareon here, this is a great example. Again, we've got these white borders on the energies, which is just a no-no. You don't want to see that. Crimson Ray is just too thin. Needs to be a little thicker there. And not only that, but look, this isn't even the right symbol. That is just a fire symbol down here in the bottom right. That is not right. But again, they are fakes. This is counterfeit. This is not legitimate. Let's go. We will continue on to this Celebi again. Just look, what is up with this leaf energy? That is the darkest leaf energy I've ever seen. And again, it has that white border. Look at the HP, 60 HP? Looks a little odd, right? That HP looks odd. Time travel indeed. This is questionable at best. Just not a legitimate card. Getting down to the wire here, down to the wire. This back looks a lot better. But look at this. A Dark Espeon? Hollow? First edition. But what is up with that hollowing? So I am going to pull up another image here. Next to this image, I'll put it on the right. And I'll show you exactly where they pulled this image from. This is a stolen image of a Dark Espeon ripped straight from price charting. That's right. Go ahead and look at the hollow pattern on the legitimate version right next to this one, and then check this one. Absolutely the exact same hollow pattern. And if you notice, the hollowing isn't very shiny. It's like it wants to shine, but it's not sure. It's not sure if it should. First edition, I don't know. It's convincing, but I just don't think the card is real. Like I said, I'll show you the price charting next to this. There's the trademark dot matrix here, the print matrix looking a little fishy. This is another great example. Bellossom first edition. This is another one that has been just completely ripped off of price charting based off of how the hollow pattern is looking. And I do have a legitimate one. This is a legitimate Bellossom. Just check the yellowing. Look at the yellow of the borders of the card. Look at the actual Bellossom itself. The one on the right is very dark. Again, though, the fonts are looking very, very similar. They have done a really good job faking these. Here's the backs to compare them. Very, very, very legitimate. I mean, they both look legitimate. The swirls, the red coloring of the Pokeball, the TM, everything looks fairly dead on. Here's the legitimate one. Do you see the difference there? I mean, difference is like night and day between the real Bellossom and the fakey. Just look at that. That is crazy. Everything else, though, looks super legitimate. I mean, I don't know how they're doing this. Guys, this is crazy. All right, guys. So what do you think? Which one of these Alakazams is legitimate? I'll give you 5 seconds. Which one's real? And you're wrong. It's the one on the left. That is crazy. So lastly, we have this beauty here. I know, it looks good. It looks good. I mean, it almost tricked me. Just look at that. 80 HP first edition. It is shadowed. I'm thinking it's supposed to be shadowless if it's first edition. But there is a shadow here. And if we follow this all the way to price charting, we can see that this exact Alakazam's pattern is on that price charting as well. So looking at this Alakazam, let's go ahead and compare it to a real Alakazam. This is base set 2 compared to the original base set, but just look. Just look. Very, very close. It is very, very close. Stage 2 Kadabra. There's that fake Kadabra. So there's the legitimate Stage 2 Kadabra. Still a small image, but still much cleaner looking. Much nicer looking. Guys. So the Alakazam on the right is the legitimate Alakazam. The one on the left is the faker. Would you guys have gotten that right? Would you have guessed that right?
Boom, 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 baby. So there you have it. There, we looked over all those cards to just verify what I think is true, that they're all indeed counterfeit cards. You want to make sure you're buying from a reputable dealer, reputable websites. Try to use something like Discover or certain banks. They do have counterfeit protections for their buyers. They do protect you against any and all fraudulent purchases, regardless of what that is. If you buy, fake cards, you buy fake coins, whatever it is you buy that's counterfeit, they will, in fact, look into that and then reimburse you. All this money is tied up now while I wait for Discover to figure out what's going on with the cards, if they're real, if they're fake. And obviously, I gave them my own explanations as to why they're fake, showing you basically the exact same things. And I'm not going to blame the person I bought these from. Looking back at their account on Buy, they are a 99.9% positive seller. So I don't think that they would be trying to bamboozle anyone to destroy their reputation. Looking closer at their account, it looks like they just sell a lot of Japanese memorabilia, small things like this, different items you'd find, and maybe they weren't even aware that they purchased these cards fake. These were the only Pokemon cards on that person's entire listings. All of their listings are of other things, not Pokemon cards. But I do indeed think that they were also bamboozled by the counterfeits. People are going to be willing to fake pretty much any card that has value. Some of these cards that I bought were worth between $2,000 to $5,000. One of them was almost worth $45,000. So it was sort of too good to be true. When you're walking into these kinds of buys, when you're purchasing cards, make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you have a game plan if everything turns out to be counterfeit. You don't want to be left holding the bag, holding that fake bag. But I really hope this video helps you guys. I hope me going over these cards, showing you the ins and outs, showing you the exact things that I think make them fake. Yeah, that's going to be just about it for today, guys. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell to be notified for future videos. And stick around on the channel with some of these fine videos here. And I'll see you next time. Peace, peace.